Hi everyone! In today's video I would like to talk to you about some critical aspects of our work as a business analyst, which is defining and understanding the business requirements. So if you're new here, I'm business analyst, I'm working in investment banking, and I'm also MBA and CQF qualified. So understanding and defining the requirement, this is particularly important in the fast-paced and highly regulated environment of the investment banking. So what are the business requirements? So simply put, business requirements are the condition that a project must meet to be successful from the business perspective. So they would outline what business would like to achieve within particular project. And it's very important to distinguish the business requirements from functional requirements, because of functional ones, they actually tell what systems should do in order to deliver business requirements. So why business requirements are so critical? As you know, in the investment banking, we have to deal with the complexity of trading systems, compliance regulation, and significant financial transaction. So having a clear understanding what actually business needs is very crucial at this stage. A well-structured and defined business requirements, it's actually ensure that the final delivery meets intended objectives. At the same time, it will help to avoid some costly errors and of course align with strategic goals of the company or the bank in general. So let's dive a bit deeper into key components of the business requirements. The first is stakeholders identification. At this stage, it's very important to understand who actually your stakeholders are, whether they are traders, compliance officer, risk manager, or any other key players. So each of those stakeholders, they will have a different needs and expectations, and it's our job as the business analyst to understand those and create a cohesive set of requirements. So the next key component is actually business objective. So here we need to understand and make sure that any new business requirements actually align with strategic goals of the bank. For example, if the objective is to improve the efficiency of the trading system, then our requirements needs to be focused on the accuracy, speed, and user experience. So the third key component is the scope definition. Defining the scope and early on will help us to avoid scope creep, which is very common in a lot of complex banking projects where we see that needs can emerge as we progress. So keeping the scope control, it will ensure that we can deliver any new needs from the business in timely manner and also in the budget. And the last but not least, the key components which I would like to mention here is the assumption and constraint. So every project, of course, will operate under some specific assumption and constraints, whether it's a regulatory deadline, budget limits, or any other technical limitations. So understanding those from the beginning as the business analyst, it will help us to set the realistic expectations. Now let's move to the gathering environment. So we will use various techniques such as interview, document analysis, workshops. Although gathering environments, of course, it's not that easy and straightforward process. So communication barrier can often lead to the misunderstanding, especially when dealing with stakeholders from different backgrounds. So of course, to understand a really good business requirements, we need to have a good grasp of the business domain, whether it's understanding the trading strategies, compliance rules, or risk management practices. So once we have got the requirements, the next step is to document communicators' requirements. So clear and concise documentation is the key here, because the development team will rely on this documentation to build and to deliver the expected business requirements. So tools like Jira, Confluence are very useful in the process of documentation. So Jira usually helps to track and monitor different requirements. Under Jira, you can create specific initiatives, you can create epic, task, bug, or wherever you define as the business requirement. So Confluence, on the other hand, it's a great tool for the collaboration and documentation. So in the fact, I often use Confluence, as I mentioned, for documentation, but also for the visualization of a flowchart, or to present visually and easy any new requirements that we have been asked by the business. Similarly, how you would use Visio? Well, Confluence allows me to virtually represent the system flow or system architecture directly within the same platform where the rest of the key project documentation resides. It is very convenient actually to have everything in one place, and it's very easily accessible to all stakeholders, including QA team and also development team. So let's recap the key components that we have discussed today. We have talked today about business requirements and how they are important, and the key components would actually make the requirements to be called as a good requirements. Also touch on the techniques that we use to gather requirements such as Jira and the Confluence, which are very important in the effective communication with stakeholders on my development team. So I also shared how actually the Confluence documentation works, including how we can create different flowcharts, which I believe from my point of view is incredible tool for both documentation and visual representation. So understanding and defining business requirements is the critical skill for any business analyst, especially in the complex field like investment banking, and I hope this video gave you some useful insight about the processes. So if you have any question or would like to share some experience of yours, please leave in the comments. And please don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. Thank you very much for watching me, and see you in the next video.